If Italy fails to qualify for the World Cup, the tournament itself will feel significantly dimmer for me. It just won't be the same. And if that happens, it will mark 3 consecutive World Cups without the Azzurri. The mood coming out of the Italian press right now is absolutely somber. Bordering on despair, there's a palpable sense of pessimism surrounding the national team's future and their upcoming playoff fate. The sentiment is clear. They are deeply disappointed and frustrated about being forced into the playoffs. But perhaps, given the circumstances, they simply couldn't have done anything different. Norway was just too strong in the group stage. And frankly, Italy wasn't quite at that level. As they face the crucial playoffs for a spot at the 2026 World Cup, Italy enters Path A with a conflicting mixture of the familiar and the unfamiliar. It feels familiar because the Azzurri have already endured the nightmare and anguish of too many playoff rounds in previous cycles. But it feels unfamiliar because, this time, their position is truly undeserved. A team that secured 6 victories, earning 18 points, with their only defeat coming against Norway, the team that won all 8 of their matches, still finds itself having to navigate 2 high-stakes knockout ties. Whether the current format is unfair or not, debating it now is pointless. The critical task is to focus squarely on the playoff bracket, make an accurate assessment of the true strength of every opponent, and thus understand precisely how difficult Italy's journey is, and what level of challenge they must prepare for. Italy's first opponent in the playoff bracket is Northern Ireland. While this draw might sound straightforward, there are key elements that mean Italy absolutely cannot afford to be complacent. Northern Ireland is not a team known for fiery attacking football, but they are the quintessential side that is exceptionally difficult to beat. Their defensive approach is disciplined, maintaining a deep, solid block, and they are particularly adept at disrupting the rhythm and flow of their opponent's game. Crucially, they conceded only 6 goals throughout the entire qualifying campaign, fewer even than Slovakia. Even when facing stronger teams, they successfully maintain a stable defensive structure. Their weakness lies in their offensive capabilities. They lack creativity, offer little unpredictability, and rely heavily on set pieces or capitalizing on opposing mistakes. In essence, Northern Ireland represents a profound test of patience. Italy holds a clear advantage in player quality, but they are prone to being drawn into a frustrating deadlock if they fail to score an early goal. This may not be a big opponent, but it is precisely the kind of opponent that can lead Italy to become their own worst enemy. Should Italy successfully navigate the semifinal, their journey could lead them to face either a strongly revitalized Wales or Bosnia, a familiar fixture in playoff rounds with deep experience. Wales poses the more dangerous threat. While they no longer rely on Gareth Bale, they have proven they can generate a fast-paced, high-energy playing style. Their emphatic 7-1 victory over North Macedonia served as a declaration. Wales is ready for the new generation. Young talents like Brennan Johnson, Harry Wilson, and others bring an explosive quality. And in a single knockout match, just 2 moments are enough to completely change destiny. Furthermore, playing the tie at home in Cardiff, a venue famous for creating a uniquely intense atmosphere, could unsettle any opposing team. Wales's weaknesses lie in their inconsistency and, at times, a lack of experience in controlling matches against top-tier opponents. However, if they reach the playoff final, Italy will need to be extremely cautious. This is the type of opponent that, while not necessarily better than Italy, possesses enough speed and threat to cause the Azzurri serious problems if the game devolves into an end-to-end contest or a quick counter-attacking battle. Bosnia and Herzegovina, however, represent a completely different type of challenge, one characterized by discipline, experience, pragmatism, and tactical astuteness. While they suffered a crushing 7-0 defeat to Germany, their overall qualifying performance was far from poor. They showed several instances of being able to dictate the tempo and steer matches in their favor. This team may no longer boast an Edin Dzeko at his absolute peak, but they still field several seasoned veterans capable of holding firm in matches that demand calmness and composure rather than explosiveness. Bosnia's strengths lie in controlling the tempo, physical duels, and structured set-piece attacks. Their weakness, conversely, is a shortage of individual players capable of creating game-changing moments. If they face Italy, their likely strategy will be to play slowly, remain compact, and wait for Italian mistakes. but against a national team with higher overall quality and a superior attack. Bosnia's best hope is to cause difficulties, not to dominate the play. So, putting all three potential opponents on the scale, is Path A truly scary? Yes, it is. This is because the playoffs are the kind of match where a single misstep can cost an entire World Cup dream. Northern Ireland is stubborn enough to drag Italy into a deadlock. Wales is fast enough to punish the Azzurri if the defense loses focus. Bosnia is experienced enough to turn the game into a heavy, draining contest. This is certainly not a bracket where a major nation can afford to stride in with arrogance. However, if we analyze the situation fairly, considering squad quality, player class, squad depth, international experience, and even recent qualifying form, Italy remains the strongest team in this path. And clearly so. This bracket is not simple, but in theory, Italy is still the most deserving team to advance to the World Cup, and if they play to their full potential, they can absolutely turn that theory into reality. When placed alongside global football elite like France, England, or Spain, it's easy to suggest that Italy has significantly declined, but to call them weak is a shallow misunderstanding. Italy may no longer be the crushing machine seen during the Mancini era that won the Euros. But the current squad still possesses enough quality to command respect from any major team. Look at the core. Donnarumma is still among Europe's elite keepers, a blend of superb reflexes and consistency. Italy has problems, but the man between the sticks isn't one of them. Absolute certainty in goal. In front of Donnarumma stands Alessandro Bastoni, currently at his peak and representing the exact profile of the left-footed centre-back that much of Europe is currently lacking. There are national teams ranked significantly higher than Italy in the FIFA rankings. Yet they do not possess a modern, ball-playing, left-footed defender who is capable of dictating and organizing the game's tempo quite like Bastoni. Moving into the midfield, Nicolo Barella remains the Barella we know, tireless, intelligent, powerful, and bursting with energy. He is not the type of player who puts on the shirt and then plays without responsibility. Alongside him is Sandro Tonali, a player who embodies the two most crucial qualities Italy requires: the ability to control possession and the ability to surge forward. A national team that possesses two midfielders of this caliber simply cannot be labeled as weak. The attack is also no longer the barren wasteland it was a few years ago. Matteo Retegui is the solution for an entire generation starved of a potent number 9. He may not be a superstar, but he is the type of central striker Italy has craved for a long time: intelligent movement, crucial pressing, good hold-up play, and sharp first-time finishing. He possesses the mettle to be the central spearhead and the tenacity to compete squarely with the world's top center-backs. Additionally, Kim remains an option for unpredictability, while Chiesa, provided he is fit and available, will always find a way to trouble any defense. Italy may fall short of France in leadership quality, lag behind England in the speed of generational transition, and trail Spain in nurturing natural tempo setters. But to claim that Italy lacks stars or is too weak to compete is completely wrong. They still possess players of enormous value, genuine class, and the ability to make a difference. Italy currently stands between two demarcation lines. They are no longer strong enough to walk into the room reserved for the top title contenders. But they are far too talented to be grouped with teams merely participating. Italy's problem is not in personnel but in the system, in how they intend to turn those valuable players into a collective that knows how to play together. In other words, Italy may no longer command the respect they once did, but calling them a weak team is wholly inaccurate. This remains a side with names that any coach would dream of having. Their story is no longer about who they have, but about how they use them. The World Cup, throughout the decades, has always needed the deep blue of the Azzurri. That color carries a unique feeling of restraint, grit, and unpredictability that no other team can truly replicate. It is not just titles or superstars that define their worth, but the stories that are uniquely Italian. Paolo Rossi, the suspect-turned-1982 hero. Cannavaro carrying a nation on his shoulders in 2006. Buffon roaring in the night of Berlin. These stories are not merely historical anecdotes. They are reminders that Italy has always carried a bizarre kind of energy. The more they are pushed into a corner, the more likely they are to rise in an utterly unpredictable way. A World Cup without Italy is like a dish missing its signature spice. It doesn't break the rules, but a familiar flavor is lost. It's the kind of team that makes you wait to see what they will bring today, an ugly win, a moment of divine brilliance, or a deep, theatrical tragedy, because football, to some extent, requires the same difficult and contradictory reading that defines the Italians themselves. Italy and the 2026 World Cup is a story for which they alone are accountable. The playoff is no place for complaints or fear. Looking at their path, Northern Ireland, followed by either Wales or Bosnia, it cannot be called easy. But it should never be called beyond the capability of this Italian squad. For a team that features Donnarumma, Bastoni, Barella, Tonali, and Retegui to complain that the road to the World Cup is too treacherous is unacceptable. They are stronger than all three potential opponents, stronger in personnel, stronger in class, and stronger in big match experience. If a team of this caliber still fails to overcome a playoff bracket consisting only of B-level opposition, then that failure does not deserve the coloring of tragedy. Italy has won 4 World Cups, forged legendary journeys that brought the world to its knees, and defined itself by its clutch temperament in life or death moments. If they now fail to navigate the European playoff round, it is not bad luck. It is not a joke of fate. And it is certainly not pitiful. It means simply that they were not good enough, not brave enough, not sharp enough, and lacked the stubborn resilience of previous generations. Italy's current quality still edges out every team in this path. They have a quality defense, one of the best midfields in Europe, and finally, a proper center forward. Northern Ireland only defends. Wales is fast but unstable. Bosnia is experienced but lacks former class. Every team presents an irritating challenge, but none are strong enough to force Italy to bow down before a ball is even kicked. Therefore, if Italy fails to reach the 2026 World Cup, don't be sad. It is not warranted. They possess every condition required to be there. They are the strongest team in the bracket. They decide their own destiny. For a team of this quality to miss out on the ticket, the resulting sadness is no longer the proper emotion. It is a reminder that they simply failed to fulfill their responsibility.